Okay, finance for July the 12th. Counselor Jones?
Here.
Counselor Gwaltney?
Here.
Counselor Allamon?
Here.
Counselor
Yeah.
Smith?
Here.
And Counselor Harden?
Here.
All present, you have a quorum.
It's a catch.
Wonderful, thank you. I hope everyone had a chance to read the minutes. Do I have a motion to dispense with the reading and approve them as distributed?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Harden, second by Mrs. Smith. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by the same sign, 5-0, that passes. Moving on to old business, 160115, past, present, and future sidewalk projects. Mr. Smith, I don't believe we have anything new on this. Okay, so we're going to carry that over without objection, pending future expenditures that need to be made on the sidewalks, which I'm sure they'll be coming at some point. 250417, request for consideration of 18th Street revitalization project. Councilor Gwaltney. I don't believe we have anything new on this. I know we're still working on the post office. Anything new, Mr. Gwaltney?
I don't have any additional
Okay,
updates.
so we'll carry this one over. I know, Mr. Kendrick, you're working hard on that.
I am.
Okay. Moving on to 190521, request for consideration of the sale of property located at 311 Oxmoor Road. This was carried over last time. Mr. Kendrick, do you have a report for us?
Sir, I think Mr. Bishop.
Need what?
I think Mr. Bishop.
Okay, JJ.
Yes, the mayor negotiated a price of $60,000 for this lot, and he'd like for you to send it out pending Mr. Kendrick review and receiving the contract.
Perhaps the sales contract.
Yes.
Okay.
It's understood there was going to be a commitment for development of the project. I haven't got that defined, so we can get that.
Okay.
And then we're also looking at the lease for the billboard sign. That should be included in the agreement.
Okay.
Yeah,
Any,
I think that, Mr. Kendrick, well, we don't have the development plan, so should we, so if you want to send it out, I think that's fine, but I don't know that we should deal with it tonight at council since we don't have the development. Right.
yeah.
So it's up to you as to whether you want to send it out tonight for the next meeting or carry it over for next week when we might have the development
Yeah,
plan.
let's carry it over for the
Okay.
next meeting, and then we'll handle it then.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you, JJ.
Did you say that there's a billboard sign issue too or something? What did you say? Okay. Okay, thanks.
All right. Moving on, 130521, request to consider audit presentation for 1920 from our auditors. The report has been distributed, and so our accounting firm was unable to be at the meeting tonight. They had to be in Montgomery at a meeting, but they will be able to come next week to present that. But Mr. Burgett is here if there are any questions on that. And then I did want him to give a quick report on the CARES Act. But are there any questions, first of all, on the audit? There'll be more questions next week when we have the presentation, but go ahead and start reading that. It's good reading. So any questions for Mr. Burgett?
Exciting.
Oh, it's exciting. It's very
It is.
exciting.
So glad we think the same way.
Yes. I mean, I look forward to it. Any questions? Okay, so I wanted, Mr. Burgett has been working diligently along with Ms. Salter on getting all the required documentation for the CARES Act. And I wanted to see if you could give us a report on that.
Yes, sir. We spent,
It's not our agenda.
when we went to City Clerks Conference, we had a lot of fun time spending in our hotel room, getting all these reports sent in. And I gotta thank our staff here that was remoting everything to Melody and myself to for us to fill the
Who
reports
knew what
out.
an iPhone could do, but I found out it could do lots.
iPhones are miracles. Okay. The good news is we got the report filed. It took about 3 times. They have actually had to edit it. They finally accepted our report. The city's been awarded $3,013,292.34, and we will receive that money this year. We'll have it in the bank tomorrow, and we will receive it at the same time next year. We're actually going to be awarded $6 million. So that's the good news there. There is a lot of stipulations on this money. There's a lot of conditions on different portions of the money. It's basically used for shortfall of revenue. That money's unrestricted. You can pay a premium pay to your employees, but it cannot be retro pay. It has to be a one-time salary increase for the current year. The money can be used for infrastructure, such as stormwater, broadband, or water projects. There's a lot of good, uses that we can use this money for, especially since we're dealing with our stormwater, our sewer problems right now. The money can earn interest. We've established a separate checking account for it. It's being deposited into our grants fund, which is a non-interest bearing account, but we will be transferring it as soon as it hits. Is there anything you'd like to add, Melody? One other thing too, I'm sorry, I had it right here, I didn't see it. We received a letter from the Alabama Attorney General stating that you can hire additional employees. They call it essential workers. That can be police officers or essential workers, and they give a definition of essential worker as anybody that deals with the public, that's exposed to COVID, touches anything that comes into their office, or communicates with any other person. So that basically means anybody, But you can use this money to hire additional people. So that's and that was an opinion from the Attorney General. So that could help us in that regard with our general fund budget.
Only thing I would really add is that, the talk that we had at the city clerks, Dr. Jones always used to let me ask us what keeps us up at night, but Lori Line is the general counsel for the league. I think they're still fleshing out the reporting that's gonna be required of it, but she just said that keeps her up at night, so now it's starting to keep me up at night already too. And the municipalities that got the money directly, that didn't flow through the state, they're smaller than this, they're gonna have to do quarterly, but we're gonna have to do annual, for the next 2 years at least. But, we're gonna be audited on this, and that, it's their belief at this point that we can use some of that money too to offset some legal fees that we may incur because extra legal fees or audit fees that we may incur because of it. And so when they're calling it the American Recovery Rescue Act, because it differs from the CARES Act in that the CARES Act was more restrictive in some areas as far as the pay and who you could pay the one-time payment to that Robert was talking about, because this one actually lets you pay anybody that touched anything last year. For instance, absentee ballots, not that I'm trying to hint for my staff, but absentee ballots or business license forms, or really anything that was touched by somebody where the CARES Act was different. So I think what's official, I don't have my sheet, you do, the American Rescue and Recovery Act or something, is what they're calling it. And it's gotta be spent by 12/24/24, but not actually spent, but committed.
Gotta be allocated.
But basically committed, or we have to detail what we're spending it for, even if we hadn't spent the
And
funds yet.
that's 12/24/21?
24.
Oh,
24.
24.
We haven't
Okay,
told-
gotcha.
12,
Sorry.
24, 24.
Okay.
Christmas Eve on
Yeah.
Do what?
2024.
Well, I'll be sitting around on
Yeah,
Christmas Eve.
That's right. Yeah, and if, Ms. Salter, if you can correct the minutes from tonight, this is really not a CARES Act report, really. I mean, it's American Rescue and Recovery Act.
Well, we were all calling it CARES, but that's one of the reasons why.
Yeah, but it's.
Because it's different, the two things that were signed into law, they're different things that you can, it's not as restrictive in some areas as CARES, and so it's a different type of, different act, but, so anyway, more to come about the reporting that we got to do. But when later on with some of the things, sure, she said, our city attorney will have to be very involved, and they'll also help with some of the resolutions that y'all decide to pass and all that kind of thing going forward. But the good news was we didn't know we were gonna get the 2 different payments.
Good, that second
Well,
year, which is good.
I'll just say this to people on the council. I mean, coming up on long time, 25 years. And, I mean, I've never seen money come in through the federal government like it's coming in. We need to be diligent with things that need to be done and make sure that we have a good accounting of it. But when I heard about this, I was calling Mr. Burgett the $6 million man for getting all this done. But it is an amazing thing that we're getting help, that cities all over the country are getting this help. But we couldn't have gotten it without all the work that you did to put all the paperwork. So I know that was challenging, and you were at the league meeting and everything. So I appreciate.
They did say too that the state's been really good to work with us. And we called them we were on a speed dial with the guy, Brett, I think is his name with the state. But I think somehow they said they tied, because the state was a pass-through for municipalities our size, that they kind of tied that they have to distribute, they wanted all the municipality money distributed within 30 days of the state getting it. And somehow they were not allowed to spend theirs without the municipalities all being gone. So they're like, hurry up and file your, not that we were gonna lose it, and they used to have an extension, but that's why they're saying hurry up and file and get it, because they can't spend theirs. They wanted all the federal government somehow tied it where not till the cities get theirs can the state start spending theirs. That's how we understood it from what they
Yep.
taught we had.
Okay,
Mr. Jones, can I
yes.
ask a question?
Sure,
Mr.
yeah,
Burgett?
absolutely.
Do you have is there any written guidance yet from the state or the feds?
Yes, we've got quite a bit.
Okay.
I can send it out to you.
That would be
There's a
fantastic.
website, there's also, the league has sent out a question and answer form. I tell you, this right here is the best. This is what I took off the website. It's just their fact sheet. I'll send this out to everyone.
That would be great. I just want to look at some of what you said in regards to essential workers and also just the categories of infrastructure that it could fund. That would be great.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'll send this out.
She told us too, I think I sent this out when Robert and I did like a high-level overview to the mayor and President White earlier, but on the league, they have a whole section of the American Recovery, that's what Robert's talking about. And there's a section that she said we're gonna have to print out in a notebook, and it's very detailed for this report that gives you up at night, but the FAQs is what he was talking about too, gives you a real quick snapshot of it. But she said you're gonna, there's a term that the meat of it is called, she said you're gonna have to print that out and refer to it, but the FAQs are really good, as far as just a quick overview of everything too, so.
I had a quick question too.
Sure, yeah.
And so I was just wondering if, I understand this came to the municipality, but if there's any guidance in terms of being able to help small businesses in Homewood, right? And if there's any programming that would allow for that through this funding.
It is specifically addressed in the American Recovery Fund. The problem with that, and this is a Mr. Kendrick question, is the Alabama Constitution doesn't allow municipalities to give to private business. So, I mean, I don't know that could be done. The Constitution, the two things they pointed out, the league pointed out to us was we can't assist private businesses directly, and we cannot retro pay. It has to be current.
Good question.
Mr. Jones,
Yeah,
I
yes,
do
sir.
think
Mr.
we've
Harden.
got to assume we're going to spend some money and put money in our budget in the next 2 years for audit and legal fees to deal with this. I mean, I think we're going to
Yes,
have to think
yes.
about that come October or August when we start looking at the budget, that we need to have some money in there.
We'll definitely have to have a single audit for this money, like we did, which we didn't budget for this year. We had a single audit for the CARES Act money. So that was an added expense, but we will have to add that in our budget this year as well.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, thank you for that good news,
Thank
Mr.
you, sir.
Burgett. Let's see here. I don't believe we have anything else that needs to be taken off the table.
Oh, I will say, Counselor Jones, on the spring tree planting, I'm working with Abraham, what do y'all call him? The city arborist. And no, we're leaving it on the table till we get closer, but we're working to try to get a RFP ready to
Okay.
send out again on that.
But nothing. we don't-
Nothing tonight, I was just letting you know
Okay,
that
okay.
he and I are in communications trying to work on that.
Okay, very good. Okay, well, there's no other business before the committee. We stand adjourned.